Seaside Cottage Part 3. So at this point, I am working on the pathway that connects all the hills that the houses are sitting on. And this is also a spillway so that if the ocean rages into town, that it can spill back down this pathway back out to sea. So that's the idea of this. That's why it's all rough and rocky, like the bottom of a river. I'm sure they could use their boats at any time if their town flooded. No laws against it. So at the base of this town, there's a huge rock wall that blocks off the sea. But there's going to be little drainage areas, which I obviously can't put in. But the idea of it, it's there. So a majority of these buildings are super snug. I'm going to put a few more jammed in between here. Just making it real quick. Details mostly on the left-hand side of the pathway. This is going to be the stronger, darker areas. And the pebbles are all different sizes and shapes. Horribly annoying if you wanted to drive your vehicle down this road. So at this point, there's tiny little cottages that are going to pop up in the background. I'm going to pack them as closely as I can. This is where I add the tree line. There's a forest way out there all around this kind of Gulf lake area. And the forest is all over these kind of tall, swooping mountains. So these trees are packed. They're on the smaller mountains out there. And it almost completely encircles this water by the sea. It's a sea. Clearly I need to get my labeling right. Nothing's labeled right. Oh well. So I'm using letter V, letter M, straight lines to make these trees way out there. Some of it is looking a little more cross-hatched and textured than the other side. That's just so you know, like when I go to color it, there will be brighter areas and darker areas. And I could do that with colored pencil just fine, but sometimes having that super black shadowy area to distinguish highs and lows or deep versus shallow areas is more prominent. It's easier to do that with pen than to try and get the darkest green and the blackest color of colored pencil and try and layer things and just let the pen do it. This side will also have its mountainous tree foresty area. And so obviously these are pine trees or deciduous trees with needles. These are not your broadleaf trees. Letter M, letter W, letter V, V upside down, straight lines. Those are your basic shapes of deciduous trees at a distance. So it's just an easy way of drawing them from when you're at such a great distance as this. This is, you could basically just do upside down letter V's really small and call it good. But I've done that in little drawings before when I was a kid, and I didn't like it. So I learned to layer different shapes. It made my eye more interested in the area, and it added more character, movement, and depth. So I'm putting a shoreline, a sandy beach around the Gulf area, and getting a little bit more texture on the hills that rise up to the houses. Now my camera is set on a coffee cup in between pencil sticks because that's the only tripod I have that works. Is a coffee cup with pencil sticks, pencils and markers and pens in them. I don't know why I said pencil sticks. But anyway, so it looks completely warped. My drawing looks completely, absolutely irrationally warped, but just ignore it. Just go with the drawing, go with the flow. So out here there's a dock, and I'm going to put a little bit of fishing boats out here. Most of them are parked. I would say this is like early morning hours, the wee early morning hours. Where there's just a few people out fishing. I could make all kinds of color choices for that time of morning out there. All of these videos start out with like 30 to 60 minutes of drawing, sometimes more. And by the time I get done editing, everything's right down to 13 minutes. So clearly I only do 13 minutes of quality work. Just kidding. Probably true. I do fast forward most of this. Besides just doing a little bit every other day, I'll sit down and when I'm in the mood, I try not to force myself to do creative artwork when I'm not in the mood because I will end up ruining what I'm doing. And I need to get past that. There's a lot of little hurdles to accomplish when you're an artist. Most of them are self-taught. You have to self-discipline yourself. Perspective, yes, will eventually come. And a lot of times that's shunned, except for if you're like a drafting engineer and you design stuff that needs to be absolutely accurate. So carpentry, building houses, furniture, planning out cityscapes, etc. Large buildings, things that have to be precise measurements. This is not what that is. This is actual, just emotional, creative, inspirational art, something to get your mind off of the stagnant stuff in life, the repetitive behavior, to get you to feel, to think outside the box, to see different textures, different shapes, to have different feelings about stuff. And so For example, this door, I've changed it quite a lot. I've added a deeper shadow around the edges, some very rusty, greasy hinge areas, which I know the hinges are the inside of the door, but just where everything is, kind of staining the sandstone walls, making this a deeper entrance with more lines, stippling, and the door looks like a almost stronger driftwood, something that's been sun-dried. I could make this a really light colored door or dark. It kind of does not matter, unless someone burnt it over a fire and made basic driftwood charcoal. That would be kind of weird. Anyways, so deeper lines for each board. Work a little bit on windows, shutters, walls, just to give the idea, the appearance feeling of things being handmade, put together on the fly, using what they had. The textures are almost touchable. You could kind of almost feel what the environment is like it's sea salty. It is somewhat dry, but the ocean is there, the salty sea, the texture of the sandstone, the colors will help pop that out. And textures of roofs, doors, windows, the road, rocks, trees in the background. You can almost understand what the air would smell like. And this is what art is about. So there's little sand speckles on the shore. Those stipplings are smaller than the ballpoint pen on the pen. As you can see, much smaller than the ballpoint pen. Why I did that, I don't know. And finally, in the background, I'm going to have kind of a push of sunshine over the water's surface. It's going to be bringing up multiple light, moisture push, I guess. So that will allow more areas to color. It will be a more opportunity for mood, lighting, feeling. So there you can see, even put a little sailboat out there, just because. More of this could come later. I put another dock out here. And I just don't feel like I'm done yet. I know there's a ton of ink on this page already. And if I over ink it, I will have less room for color, which you want to have a balance. Too much ink means you don't get to use too much color. Too much color, not enough ink. So here it is so far. So I hope you enjoyed this short episode of more Cottage by the Sea. Stay tuned for another one or possibly coloring.